Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular meeting of Fernie City Council held on May 12th, 2026. Kisuk Yukiat. We acknowledge that the city of Fernie is located within Kukinamakis, the unceded territory of Yakat Atnukliat First Nation. We recognize that we live within their vast lands. Akanahunik are from Yakat Atnukliat and are members of the Tanaha-speaking peoples of British Columbia, Idaho, and Montana. Before I call the meeting to order, just a note that this week we're celebrating Local Government Awareness Week and Asset Management Awareness Day. I bet that's in everybody's calendar. These initiatives help increase public awareness and understanding of the roles and responsibilities of local government, while also encouraging public participation in local government processes. We invite you to join us for a series of community events. Details are listed on our website at fernie.ca. And tomorrow there's story time with the mayor at the library at 11:15. And we have a special evening council cafe on Thursday, May 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. We also have a free swim at the Aquatic Center on Thursday, May 14th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. With that, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. And I will ask for a mover and a seconder for the following recommendation: that the agenda of the May 12th, 2026 regular council meeting be adopted with item 11.3, notice of motion from Councillor Nixon. Moved by Councillor Audie Kelly, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. I'll now ask for a mover and a seconder for the following recommendation: that the minutes of the April 28th, 2026 regular meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Audie Kelly. Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. And finally, the following recommendation: that the minutes of the April 7th, 2026 official community plan task force meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Shoesmith, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. I'll now open the floor to public participation and invite public in attendance or participating electronically who wish to comment on items listed on the meeting agenda in accordance with section 3.7.3 of the procedure bylaw to address council, except speakers must not address council regarding a matter for which a public hearing must be held or has been held pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to council's consideration of the matter or adoption of the bylaw. Speakers must not address council regarding a permit for which public notice must be given or has been given pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to council's consideration of issuance of the permit. And just for clarity tonight, that it references item 8.1, development variance permit application number DVPA 628, referencing the Royal Hotel. A speaker may only address the council for a maximum of 3 minutes, and speakers are asked to state their full name and community of residence. I understand we have some folks who wish to speak.
Yes, Your Worship. First is Michelle Williams.
Please approach the podium.
Okay, I'm a little confused. I wanted to address concerns about the hotel at the Royal.
Unfortunately not. That is being considered for adoption this evening, so it's not open for public participation.
Okay. So where do I participate?
You can send information or concerns to our planning department.
Okay.
At planning@fernie.ca.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
And I do apologize for the pronunciation of this name. Next, we have Darcy Uyanwala. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Darcy Ujainwala and I live on Aspen Crescent, directly adjacent to the land being rezoned tonight. I want to talk about the official community plan because what is happening here procedurally deserves to be said out loud. The OCP is supposed to reflect what this community wants. It is supposed to be the guardrail that protects residents from decisions that serve private interests over community ones. Tonight, we are rezoning a private park buffer land specifically designated to protect Aspen Crescent in a single reading with no public hearing, the day after the 2026 OCP consultation workbooks closed. The community spent months telling the city what they want in a new OCP. Those workbooks closed yesterday. The new OCP doesn't exist yet. And tonight we are using the old OCP to approve a rezoning before the new one can say anything about it. If you were designing a process that gave residents the feeling of consultation while ensuring their input could never influence the outcome, this would be it. The old OCP says yes, the new OCP doesn't exist yet. And in that narrow window tonight, this gets pushed through in a single reading with no public hearing. I think that deserves to be acknowledged. Now, I want to talk about what we already know about this land, because the developer's own registered covenants tell us quite a bit. A geotechnical evaluation conducted in March 2023 before a single shovel hit the ground found groundwater near surface in multiple test pits, observed active seepage on site, and explicitly noted that the water table on this hillside is highest in spring. The developer knew this before they started. The covenants also require the drainage ditch to be lined to prevent seepage into surrounding soils. I am told that ditch does not currently have a liner. That is a covenant obligation that exists right now, unmet. There's also a requirement for a secondary emergency vehicle access to be constructed before phase 4 can proceed, meaning if there's ever a fire or an emergency on that hillside, there's currently only one way in and one way out. These are not hypothetical concerns. They are documented conditions that the developer agreed to and has not fulfilled. And tonight we are being asked to give them more. On drainage and flooding, in March 2026, multiple homes on Aspen Crescent flooded for the first time. My home was one of them. The city's own assessment pointed to this development as a contributing factor, above average sediment in the drainage system. I want to be fair. I don't know with certainty what caused my basement to flood, but I do know the city pointed to this development. And I do know we are tonight approving 20 more units on that same hillside. The city could not maintain the current drainage infrastructure well enough to prevent homes from flooding. What is the plan for 20 additional units, more impervious surface, and more construction activity? Approving more development before addressing the problem that already exists is not growth. It's short-sightedness.
Thank you, Mr. Ujinwala. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Next is Courtney Baker.
I have something prepared, which I never do. That's a unique thing. And I do apologize. I have to run because of soccer. So thank you for letting me use the public participation period tonight. My name is Courtney Baker. I'm a resident of Fernie. I'm here as the ED of the Fernie Pride Society. I'm here to thank you for considering our request for in-kind services for the Pride Festival again with the decorating and whatnot. And speak specifically to the importance of flying the Progress Pride flag during the September 16th through 20th Elk Valley Pride Festival. We all know a flag doesn't solve every problem, but it does send a clear message about who belongs in this community and who is safe to be themselves here, more importantly. Symbols matter, and they do a lot of heavy lifting with a very simple act as raising a flag. Flag neutrality laws seem to be all the trend nowadays, which is unfortunate. So we appreciate that the city of Fernie really has always supported the Elk Valley Pride Festival and Fernie Pride Society in general. Pride festivals are not just celebrations. They exist because 2S LGBTQIA+ people spent decades and continue to spend time being excluded, bullied, murdered, incarcerated, fired from jobs, denied housing, denied medical care, and treated as though they should stay invisible. Flying the pride flag recognizes that history, but also recognizes the people in our community today who are our neighbors, coworkers, students, family members, youth, more importantly. The flag is not political. There are communities in the West Kootenays right now who are floating their neutrality laws. A flag is not a political statement. Inclusion is not partisan, and saying that you belong here is not a controversial statement to make. These visible symbols of pride matter greatly, especially for young people. A youth struggling with isolation or fear, good chance they will never be here at this podium speaking. That's why people such as council doing an act like that, or myself coming to the podium to speak, is critical because they notice whether people, especially their city, acknowledges them. These signs, like flags, have a very real impact on mental health, safety, and community connection. Flying the flag also does not take away rights from anybody else. It does not force your agreement on every issue. It simply shows that the city is committed to treating all residents and visitors with humanity and respect, even with differing opinions. So I personally am proud to live here. I feel like Fernie is a really strong community because people do feel welcome participating in public life. With the city of Fernie considering and granting the request to fly the pride flag, it just very simply, yet very clearly and unequivocally says that the city is confident enough to stand for inclusion, civility, and equal belonging for all residents. So thank you for your consideration again, and for your historical and hopefully ongoing support of the Pride Festival and for Fernie Pride. And I have to run, sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mark Mooney.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Mooney. I am the big bad developer that's trying to get something in place here for the Mount Fernie Estates.
Sorry, Mr. Mooney, where do you live?
200 Burma Road is the residence that I have part-time living at.
Thank you.
I wanted to bring up 5 different points. The first one that I want to bring is paint the big picture. There is a public park space that has been created as a buffer that was donated as part of the development project that I inherited 3 years ago. I took over this development 3 years ago this month. Yes, there was a private park that was put in place under council in 2012. I think that because it was named private park, everybody thought it was going to be a green space park. But if you look up what the zoning is under private park, you'll see that it has many different uses besides park. And it has been used as non-permanent storage for a number of years. Before I even took it over, it's been used as storage. I don't think this is the best use for this land. I can tell you that the previous developer still owns the land that's located just below Burma Road, so along the river. He has intentions to build 4 units, and I don't think that 4 units belongs there. I have been in negotiations with this landowner to purchase and acquire his land and do a trade with the city so that we can protect the park and green space area along the river where I think it needs to be protected. The residents of Aspen Cressman will be able to maintain a green space buffer with the public park space that already exists. The trees within that public park will not be taken down by myself or my contractors. They will remain as a green space buffer. There are very few live trees that would be taken down next to the public park space. I was going to address the stormwater, but I see I have 1 minute left, and I am working with the city engineering department to address that. But what I can tell you, and on behalf of the previous owner, who put in place a interceptor ditch 16 years ago that's clay lined to stop the water from seeping through, that has proven the test of time. And it has stopped a significant amount of water in the area of 90 percentile of water breaching and reaching the residents of Aspen Crescent. That previous developer doesn't get any credit for it and gets a lot of blame. The density, I could have had up to 48 units. I decided that's ridiculous, not going to happen. Then I was going to go to 12 duplex units. Then I decided 10. The density has already come down significantly. I see I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mooney.
Next, we have Robert Shearer.
I'm Darcy's neighbor on Aspen Crescent, bought our house there 11 years ago. I live in Vulcan with the intent to retire here eventually. And for the last 11 years, we've heard banging and crashing and smashing up there till 11:30 at some nights. You can't enjoy your property. That was continued last summer. I don't know if this development goes ahead, there's got to be a bunch more rules. For example, you got too much traffic coming down that Aspen Crescent now. You should open up that Burma Road. That's the alley on the other side there. It was its original intent, according to one of the neighbors that's been in the neighborhood for a long time. And all the traffic that's going to be increased, I don't want my 9 grandkids that are all under 12 years old run over by any big truck. So I'm very unhappy. I'm also unhappy that when we bought the house, we were told that the city had just recently made some kind of deal with the developer up there, that would be a buffer. And that buffer's now being taken away. And I think the work may have even been done before it was approved. I don't know, but I think this whole thing has an odor about it, and it's not a good one. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm just mad here. I don't want 10 or 12 duplexes on my back of my backyard, especially if the city had promised a buffer, and now that buffer's been taken. And there's a bunch of smoke and mirrors here too. The way the amendment application came into the town, it was going to be it's like as if that buffer was supposed to be a playground or park or something. It was not. It was supposed to protect our peace and privacy and enjoyment of our own property. It wasn't to be a park, and he wants to trade it for land down the hill and make a sidewalk or something for all the people that are going to be living up there. It's asinine. It hasn't been planned right, and the city has not overseen this worth a piece of crap. There's about 6 or 7 covenants that have been broken or not met. And if you do this amendment, those covenants go out the door. If this amendment goes through, I don't know if this is a threat or what, but I'm not done. I'll go to Victoria or wherever your regulators are, because this is not right. And I told Darcy I didn't want to get up here and talk because I get mad, but Nick had a chat with, what's Heinz's last name? Yeah, he'll tell you some stuff. It's been pretty bad. Apparently, an old neighbor told me that the city one time put a stop order on Igor because he didn't do drainage properly on some cement walls he was building. And now they've denuded the
Thank you,
whole
Mr.
damn
Scheer.
hill.
Thank
Is
you
my
very much.
time gone?
Yeah.
All right, good night.
Thank you.
Next is Chris Inglis.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Gallery, and staff. Chris Inglis, former resident of Fernie for 55 years, currently back living here part-time. Just wanted to bring up some issues to the mayor and council and also staff. Also, Mayor, it's also Nurses Week this week as well, which I'm very proud to celebrate after I survived a brain aneurysm. And a lot of that survival is because of the nurses' attention here at the Fernie Hospital. Also too, I just want to address something from last council meeting when the Outdoor Rink Society was here and did their presentation. It just, I don't know if you guys ever go home or the gallery watches from home, or you as counselors and mayor and even staff go home and watch the films, because it's just a different sight when you're at home and you're watching it on your phone or on your iPad. You get somebody up here for the Outdoor Rink Society, and the first words out of their first paragraph is he looked after a project worth over $750 million. And you got somebody that wants to volunteer their time in that to be the main person for the outdoor rink. So sitting back at home, you just watch it. You should be giving and thanking these person, this community and society, and giving them everything that they want. Not question them and delays, and maybe the project might not go forward and the society might dissolve. Like that's just not right. When you sit at home, like honestly, go back and watch your meeting. Like when you have somebody of this kind of caliber that's looked after a project worth $750 million and want to volunteer to bring the Outdoor Rink Society in place for years to come, you got to just welcome them with open arms. And I didn't see that from last council meeting. So that was a little disappointing. Maybe you guys can look at that. And also too, I just wanted to bring something up. It happened in Sparwood.
It's not on our agenda, Mr. Inglis. We don't
It's a
need to hear
safety
about it.
issue for the community of the kids. So I think it's
Well,
very important. It's
well,
safety, like to do with
You can
life and
send
death.
it, you can send it through normal communication channels. You can email it to our
It's a
CAO.
simple 3 words.
No, Mr. Inglis is not on our agenda.
Okay. And also too, they're building the hotel at Canadian Tire. They're starting that tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Inglis.
Okay, next we have Bryce Fleming.
Hello. I also live in Aspen Crescent. My name's Bryce. I live 2 doors down from Darcy. Also just want to bring up the concerns that before anything else proceeds on the land, that the drainage must be fixed. The geohazard situation must be addressed. The new units will be built in a Zone 1 area, but Zone 3 sits directly above them. The same geotechnical report that was documenting near surface groundwater and active seepage on the hillside also confirmed this is a site with debris flow and slope instability risk. The land directly above the proposed units has already been excavated and left exposed. Excavation at the toe of the slope, particularly a slope with documented groundwater and seepage issues, is one of the most reliable ways to destabilize it. The exposed cut has been sitting through multiple winters. It needs a retaining wall, not eventually, but before any further excavation or construction proceeds. This is not hypothetical. It is a documented risk on the hillside where we already have a geotechnical report telling us exactly what the conditions are. In regards to traffic, Aspen Crescent is the only primary route in and out of the neighborhood. 20 additional units means conservatively 40 or more additional vehicles on our street every day. Burma Road is an unpaved alternate route that could meaningfully split that traffic, but it is not usable in its current state. I'm asking that paving Burma Road be a condition of occupancy permits, not eventually, but before people move in. I'll close with this. The residents of Aspen Crescent are not anti-development. We understand Fernie needs housing, but we were promised a private park buffer when we bought our homes. The drainage that was supposed to protect our street failed this spring. The covenant obligations that were supposed to protect this development's neighbors have not been met. The geotechnical risks on the hillside are documented in the developer's own registered reports, and this is being approved tonight in 1 reading with no public hearing, the day after public consultation on the new OCP closed. I would also note that developer has been visibly staging significant equipment and vehicles behind the Aspen Crescent properties for several weeks with no active work underway, suggesting an expectation that tonight's meeting is a formality. I would ask council to demonstrate to the community that this is not the case. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fleming.
Okay. Next we have John Powell.
I'm John Powell, 48 Aspen Crescent. I just wanted to address the ditch issue. The ditch actually did release water into my backyard when they were doing work. I've been assured that it's fixed. I haven't seen anything yet, but last fall we had heavy rains and I was on the way to take my son to the GameStop and I got a call from Heinz Binder saying, John, there's water coming down both sides of your house. And so that destroyed that. I'd been promising him for a couple of weeks that we'd go there. And it ends up that the water was flowing down from the development above and it was coming through over the area where the ditch was, down my backyard, down my retaining walls, onto my patio, my hot tub, and around my house. And so I'm quite upset about the statement that it's never breached. And I want assurances that this is done properly. This is the big thing for me, right? When I moved into the house, I knew there was going to be development. I just want to make sure it's done properly so I never have to worry about that again. Okay, I'm very, apprehensive to even talk about it because I'm thinking about things like insurance and stuff like that. How can I be guaranteed with something like that happening? I need assurances that this will never, ever happen again. That's what I need before supporting that. Again, I'm not against development too. I just need to make sure that everything is done properly and so that I can rest at ease with my children sleeping in the basement of that house, that we're not going to have the same kind of thing happen ever again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell.
And maybe John McCauley?
My name is John McCullough. I live on Aspen Crescent. Just one comment. When I got back from a trip this winter, there's a drainage ditch up above our place, and all the gravel on our access into our property was on the front street, which I cleaned up when I got back home. So just adding to what some of the other people have said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCauley.
That's it, your worship.
Anyone online?
No, your worship.
No. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. Item 8.1, Development Variance Permit Number DVPA 628, 501 First Avenue. Presentation from our Manager of Planning. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Similini hasn't begun yet if they want to speak. Identify themselves and where they live.
We're just going to walk it back a bit to public participation
Yeah.
period. Okay. We have Darren Grandoni online.
Hello, can you hear me?
We
Hello?
can, Mr. Grandoni, do you have
I do have
video?
Yeah, I do. Hold on here. Start video. Yeah, my name's Darren Grandoni. I live at 36 Aspen Crescent. I just wanted to confirm that council received the letter that over 40 residents submitted.
We did, yes.
Okay, I just add to that letter shortly here. I just think the deal that's being proposed by the developer is not substantial enough. The community was promised this private park, an additional buffer zone in addition to the public park. The noise created by this developer for 10 years is unacceptable. It continues to this day. The geotechnical concerns have not been addressed. And trying to trade a small piece of land that's really not usable, doesn't really add value to the community. It's not really near the park that's used, is just not a good deal. If I was council agreeing to this deal, I'd be embarrassed. The public, the city needs more compensation or more park space as part of this transaction if you're going to approve this rezoning. This developer, usually when development occurs, there's a benefit to the community, a vibrant community's created, there's tax revenue. We have not seen that in 10 years from the original developer or this developer. They go and dig up dirt and they don't accomplish anything. No houses have been built in over 14 years. They need to finish what they started before they get the opportunity to create more damage in the area. They've damaged city infrastructure. They've damaged people's houses. It's not acceptable. Council needs to stick up for the taxpayers here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grandoni.
You're welcome.
Mr. Similini.
Thank you, Worship. Good evening, Council. First item we're looking at tonight is Development Variance Permit Number 628 for 501 First Avenue, the Royal Hotel. They are asking to vary the minimum rear yard setback for redevelopment of the property from 3.5 meters to 0.0 meters. This would allow them to construct a stairwell and elevator tower on the north side of the existing building. This does maintain consistency with the existing building setback. So the Royal Hotel right now, as we know it, is at 0.0 meters. So it would be even with that. This variance would allow that stairwell and elevator to be built, which would give access to the building, to the top floors, which currently is only accessed through the inside of the building and not completely accessible to everyone. This map just shows a bit of a schematic of the proposed building. The green area you see there is the elevator tower from Bird's Eye View. Again, showing that the tower is at the 0.0 mark, even with the existing building. Some drawings or elevations of the building show the tower. Of note, Council, this is going through a permit process, development permit, heritage alteration permit process. Council did previously approve a variance very similar to this and a heritage alteration permit as well. The developer went away for a while and now they're back, but these plans vary slightly from the original plans, which is why we're back at council tonight asking for a variance. Council's options tonight are that the variance be approved. Council can request more information or council can deny the variance. And our recommendation is that the variance move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Simulini. Questions or comments from council? Councillor Shoesmith.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. That seems to make sense from like a physical spatial standpoint and what have you. I see in the pictures it's the wall of metal. Is there going to be form and character stuff, or is that kind of what they're leaning towards?
Your worship, through to Councillor Shoesmith, that's correct. There's like the heritage alteration permit process, which is required here, same as like development permit that looks at form and character. So an example of that is our design guidelines specifically state that corrugated metal, for example, is not an approved siding material. So we'll work with the developer to make sure that the form and character matches the neighborhood and the design guidelines.
Thank you very much. I know you literally just said that and I asked, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Other questions and comments? So seeing none, in many ways, it's like the existing building would we consider it legal non-conforming, or is it legal insofar as it sits on the laneway? There's zero setback.
Yeah, your worship, through to council, I believe it would be legal non-conforming, although there are some nuances there. The building is under a heritage protection bylaw from the 1980s. So there is that bylaw could be interpreted that if something were to happen to the building would have to be rebuilt in the same spot. So although there's not a variance to legalize the existing siting of the building, there are other things in place that may allow that building to go back where it was.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. With that, I'll ask our corporate officer to read the recommendation.
Your worship and council, the staff recommendation is that council issue development variance permit number DVPA 628 at 501 First Avenue to vary zoning bylaw number 1750 as follows. 1, section 4.2.8.4.3, minimum rear yard setback from 3.5 meters to 0.0 meters.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Shoesmith. Any further discussion? Councillor Shoesmith.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. That building is obviously in a bad shape. We've all seen it sinking into disrepair and ruin for a long time. And I think that it's wonderful that somebody is going to upgrade it and put it to a good use. And with modern safety and accessibility standards, I don't really see that that's doable without adding something like this. So rather than see it continue to just molder, I think we should support this.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Ardia Kelly.
I agree broadly with what Councillor Shoesmith said, but I do hope that we have learned from the OCP consultation so far that the conservation of our heritage in downtown is very important to all of our citizens. So I would like to see that we take some steps to make sure that it does match the form and character that we have in our heritage downtown.
With that, I will call the vote. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Item 10.1, adoption of zoning bylaw number 1750, amendment bylaw number 2549, 2026. And I ask for mover and a seconder for the following recommendation that the zoning bylaw number 1750, amendment bylaw number 2549, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Any discussion? All those in favor? Item 10.1. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Is everybody comfortable where we're at? Yeah. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. No, that's okay. Yeah. Item 10.2. I need a mover and a seconder for the following recommendation that the tax rate bylaw number 2550, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Ramadès, seconded by Councillor Shoesmith. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. And now on to item 10.3. Zoning bylaw number 1750, amendment bylaw number 2531, a presentation for our manager of planning. Councillor Shoesmith.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. Given that my father owns the neighboring parcels and his development and property will be impacted, I need to recuse myself. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you again, Your Worship. Just a brief sort of how I'm going to present this is I'll go through the presentation and by all means stop me and ask questions, but I'm expecting a pretty wholesome conversation with this one as well. So more than happy to stay up here and answer as many questions as I can as well. So
thank you, Emily.
So bylaw 2531 to rezone a portion of 200 Burma Road from private park to RSS, which is residential small scale. Just for everyone watching, just a reminder that residential small scale is our new zone that conforms to the province's small scale multi-unit housing legislation. And it makes up a large part of our former single family and duplex residential zones in Fernie. This would facilitate an update to a phased strata development known as the Mount Fernie Estates. Just a brief timeline here going back to 2012. I know that in your in the staff report, it speaks to bylaw 2183. It was an OCP amendment from residential to natural open space of the old OCP's land use map. At the same time, bylaw 2151 was adopted, which is the zoning that you see today, the private park zoning. In 2014, when the new OCP or the OCP we currently have was adopted, that land use amendment that was reflected in bylaw 2183 was rescinded or no longer existed. I'm not sure what the history of that is. It would be speculation for me to say how or why that happened. Nonetheless, we are now dealing with an OCP that is consistent with the zoning request.
Sorry, Mr. Similini, can you clarify that for me? So it was zoned private park, but at some point it was returned to being zoned residential.
Your worship, through the council, not zoning, the OCP land use designation.
Oh, thank you.
So there were two bylaws. One was to change the OCP land use designation. One was to change the zoning. The OCP land use designation bylaw, which was bylaw 2183, was adopted in 2012. And then when the new OCP was adopted in 2014, that 2183 was rescinded. It was done as an amendment to the OCP. When you adopt a new OCP, the old OCP is rescinded. So that the changes in 2183 were never reflected. It was only reflected in the bylaw for 2 years, and then it was taken out. The zoning, on the other hand, remains today. So the rezoning from or the rezoning to private park that was discussed tonight, it's still in the zoning bylaw, which is the bylaw that we're looking at today to actually rezone that to
Thanks
residential.
for that clarity.
Yeah. There was a phase strata development that was approved, and we can get into some details on how phase stratas operate, but typically when a phase strata comes forward, all of the phases are approved at one step, and then as each phase incrementally comes in, the approving officer approves each phase separately after that. Noted that the private park area is currently being used as non-permanent storage, and we have had drainage issues brought forward to the city of Fernie. And again, I'm going to summarize some of the public comments we received. Although because we're not allowed to hold a public hearing for this, I will just summarize them and again leave it up to council's discussion. And I can comment on them at council's wish. So this again, this development is part of a phased strata plan. What would happen here is the development of these lots was never earmarked for this type of development when the original phase strata plan was applied for and approved. So an amendment to that phase strata plan would need to be approved by the approving officer. That goes through a review process. Certain conditions can be implemented, things like that. But again, the first step in that is approving or moving forward with the zoning. I think it's really important to note that.
Sorry, Manager Simulini, Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just to clarify what you've just said, if we approve the rezoning, the next step is then approving the phase, like they have to approve the phase strata plan then before they can do any work on this lot and subject to any conditions that we wish to implement at that stage?
Your Worship, through to Councillor Hamilton, that's correct, but that would be focusing on the land being rezoned, not necessarily the land of the total development where a lot of the issues are potentially coming from. I'll get into a little bit more detail on that here in a little bit as to what we can ask for. There's a slide coming up for that. So. Further, there was this consideration slide is important. The developer has, and as noted in their presentation earlier, has put forward a proposal for an amenity contribution. You can see the land on that map there, circled in black with the arrow pointing to it. It is a piece of property on the downslope side of Bremer Road, sort of at the top of the slope coming up from the Elk River. Of note, the land itself is actually surrounded by parkland, so this would actually make a little bit of a continuous area.
Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Worship. During the public participation period, it was indicated that that particular piece of property is not currently owned by the developer. And so how comfortable are we with them promising that if they actually don't own it? How does that work?
Your Worship, through to council, there would be a process, a legal process that we would have to undertake when it comes to an amenity contribution. What that would essentially entail would be like a no build covenant on the property being proposed for rezoning. That would then be in place until the amenity contribution came through. So once the city acquired that piece of land, then the no build covenant could be lifted. So if there's no build covenant on the land for development, and the amenity contribution doesn't happen, then there's the no build covenant lives there, and then the land upslope is never developed. So that's a little bit of a bargaining chip, so to speak.
I see.
Further?
So should the current owner choose not to sell that piece of property, then the donation will never happen, which means that the build covenant will never be lifted and the property would remain the same. Is that?
That's correct. And through to council again, what we're proposing tonight isn't to move through all three readings and adopt the bylaw right away. We have dialed that back to first and second reading. So first and second reading can happen. And then a lot of the work that needs to happen on both this lot and the upslope lots can potentially happen before council gives third reading and adoption. So that's sort of what I was touching on with Councillor Hamilton's comment earlier. The development of the land in question for the rezoning would need to be developed under the subdivision process. Whereas the remediation of the rest of the land can happen now through the covenants that are on title. So what we're suggesting is that council give first and second reading tonight, stop on readings until the problems are fixed, and then it can come back to council.
Just one further clarification,
Yep.
Your Worship. I just wanted to be very clear, and I think I am, but no part of council, should council choose to support this, there is no specific pressure being placed on the current owner of that property to sell. Is that accurate? We're not contributing to that, like, because of this particular proposal, they're not going to be feeling like, oh, they're not going to be able to build there and all that stuff.
Your worship, through to council, just for clarification, are you speaking of the piece of land that was an amenity contribution or?
Yes.
Okay. Not that I'm aware of, and I haven't been privy to any of the talks between the developer and the property owner. So.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Councillor Audie Kelly.
Perhaps I'm confused, and further to what Councillor McIsaac was trying to point out. I'm confused about how one would offer an amenity contribution of land that one doesn't own, unless I misunderstood. Also, can you please advise what the definition of private park is and what the intent is? Because from my read of the 2012 minutes, council being a continuous body, I think the council of the day fully intended that space to act as a buffer zone. So I'm confused as to what exactly is meant by private park and why would there be storage and trees being taken down on land that was meant to be a private park buffer zone. And I think in fairness, folks that have lived there, 2012 was 14 years ago. So I think it's fair that some considerable time has gone by, that the expectation was that that land would be a buffer zone. So maybe I'm misunderstanding what a private park buffer zone means.
Your worship, through to council, to comment on what private park is, as was noted in the public input period, there are several different permitted uses under private park. What was discussed back in 2012 was, again, I wasn't part of those meetings. I don't know the specifics beyond the minutes, having read them, was that was the discussion at the time. However, there was never anything, registered on title, for example, that would lock that in as far as needing to remain as a private park or needing to have like a restrictive covenant as to what the use needed to be, tree removal, things like that. So obviously things happen in the meantime, but I don't know of any sort of binding commitment from the property owner, if that answers your question.
Yes, further. Okay. Thanks, Manager Similini. Also, the covenants that haven't been met. I'm unclear as to why they have not been met, or maybe that's another misunderstanding of mine from the reading, but I'm understanding there's several covenants that haven't been met, but we're contemplating additional. I don't understand.
Yeah, your worship, through to council. To be clear, we are proposing that those covenants be addressed as part of this, as in the previous couple slides there, we talked about some of the considerations that council might make, being looking at that amenity, looking at the drainage, which is protected by covenant. There are several other covenants on title as well. Another one that's noted is that capacity analysis would need to be done prior to receiving a subdivision application. So this process gives us the ability to move forward with enforcing those covenants, if that makes sense. Not that covenants aren't enforceable otherwise, but this is a little bit of a trigger in that. Enforcing covenants can be a little bit of an arduous process as far as the legalities of them and things like that. So this is a little bit of a stepping stone to allow us to say, to proceed with the zoning, we need to address those items that are addressed in the covenants.
Well, on that note, Mr. Simulini, if these covenants need to be addressed anyway, like why does it require this trigger? And I think I'd like to see actually in the report an analysis of what hasn't been achieved or what hasn't been met, what the expectation was, and what the variance is, where we find ourselves today. I'm reluctant, where I'm sort of sitting at the moment. One of your options in the report is that council requests more information, and I feel like that's where I'd like to go. And I'm not presupposing a decision or a decision by council, but if there is a significant variance between what was expected in terms of the covenants that were registered on title and the performance of the development under the previous or existing owner, what is that variance and why? Like, you know, are there reasons? Are there reasonable explanations? Are they time bound? I really don't have a sense of that, and it feels like a big information gap at the moment, and it's certainly been brought up by folks in the public participation period.
Yeah, your worship, if I may, I think it's a fair point. Analysis of all of the covenants and comparing them to the current situation of the property would take some work, and we haven't had the capacity to do that detailed analysis. But if that's what council wishes us to do, then we can.
And I'm wondering,
that as well.
do we put that back on the developer, the person who's coming to ask for this consideration, is an explanation as to what the covenants are and why the conditions haven't been met, if in fact they haven't. Like, I don't know. That's the challenge I find myself in.
Yeah, your worship. I mean, an example of that is with the stormwater, the drainage issue. It's there's a stormwater management plan, for example, and if it was put into place and it's still not working, then that means that the covenant may have been met because the stormwater management plan was put into place from that perspective. But the other perspective is, well, wait a minute, your stormwater management plan isn't actually working, right?
Performing,
so that would be a difference that would need to be looked at.
Thank you. Councillor Artie Kelly.
Your worship, I'm quite uncomfortable. I don't understand why we would need to give more to enforce already legally enforceable covenants. I'm confused by that. For me, there is a significant lack of information, and I don't think it should be incumbent upon our staff, your worship. I think you made a very valid point there. I think it should be incumbent on the requester to demonstrate how or why they haven't met the covenants, or et cetera. So for me, I'm not comfortable with the way this stands.
Yeah, even thank you, Councillor. Even in the minutes going back from 2012, there was a commitment to hydroseed the entire site. I've been up there. I don't know. It doesn't look like that's happened. You know, as Councillor Artie Kelly points out, that's 14 years ago. That could have been a fairly early win for the previous owner. I don't know if it ever happened. Councillor Ramirez.
Thanks, Your Worship. I think I've got all the information that I need to make a decision. I don't want to be investing any of staff's time or our time to go through this. So if you could call for a vote, that would be excellent.
Well, I'd ask somebody either to move the third recommendation that council request more information regarding the application to amend zoning. And do you need, and maybe I'll look to our corporate officer, do you need more detail in terms of how that information comes back to us? Vis-a-vis, it comes, you know, the staff task the developer to provide. And I'm looking at our staff here. Is that appropriate? Okay. Yeah, Mr. Simulini's worked on it. Why don't you run through it?
Right. Thank you, Council. I do think it is important to note how we came to our recommendation.
Yeah,
in
and
that-
I think that's absolutely fair, Mr.
Yeah.
Simulini. I don't want to shortchange you.
No, that's fair. Thank you, Your Worship. Essentially, our job is largely, and when we make recommendations to council, we look at the OCP, and when something is consistent with the OCP, that's when we move forward. Now, I think that there's differences here in our recommendation that we weren't proposing to just move forward with the adoption of the bylaw. We did give consideration to the potentially unaddressed items and the issues up there, and realized that this was a good opportunity to have them be fixed. But as far as our recommendation to move forward, again, consistent with the OCP, and because it is consistent with the OCP, a public hearing was not allowed. And again, I think that just for the public watching tonight, that wasn't a decision of staff or council. That was a decision of the provincial government through legislation. Just a note that if something is consistent with the OCP and for 50% or more of housing, then the local government is not allowed to hold a public hearing for that. Again, we talked a little bit about the concerns in the emails that we received. Again, I do want to note for the public and those that sent in letters, we do appreciate them. However, because we can't hold a public hearing, we still have to do public notice. And in that public notice, there's an email for more information. You can email Fernie here. So what we did instead of including them on the agenda tonight, because that could be construed as a public hearing, is we forwarded those directly to council. So council had an opportunity to see them. Again, just an important nuance in how we address these concerns with this application. And that brings us to the recommendations, but it sounds like council may want to have further discussion on that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Simulini. I'm looking to council if somebody can potentially propose, and I'm suggesting this, and this is open for debate. The council requests more information from the applicant regarding the application to amend zoning bylaw number 1750, including a detailed listing of performance against existing covenants on title. Councillor Eddie Kelly will move it.
Move it, Your Worship.
Is that Councillor? I'm letting our discussion. Councillor McIsaac.
Your Worship, so I could ask this question in term of Mr. Simulini. In the report, it references the fact that a new geotechnical report would be required with regards to the development on that site. Is there an existing one, and does it reference the concerns that were brought up here tonight about seepage and high water mark and lack of capacity in the potential ditching and so on as part of the stormwater management plan? Has that been reviewed, and is the developer and development currently in compliance with that? Do we know?
Yeah, Your Worship, through to council, two-part question. There are several to many geotech reports on the property that were done throughout the years, different iterations and proposals of development, to the point where tracking them is a bit of a task. There is a stormwater management plan as well. But as to whether or not they're in compliance, I think that is sort of the question that's being asked by the resolution being proposed by council is let's get an analysis on that to see what is in compliance and what isn't. So further to the covenants are tied to reports. So I mean, it's more of a review of those reports on the covenants together to ensure or to see what the status of the land is.
Further?
Well, and I think this is more to you, your worship, with regards to the current motion that's on the table, and that is because there appears to be a dearth of information about the covenants right now, I'm unclear if even getting information back about the covenants would actually give the information that I would like to know about the current geotechnical status of that hillside for development. Your indication to the developer, if we were going to ask for information about the status or lack thereof of current covenants, that what is included in that is what is the current status of the geotechnical work that has been done up there with regards to ditching and drainage and all that stuff? Is it consistent with what has been recommended in the previous geotechnical reports? I would really like to know if what the residents are experiencing up there is the result of shortcomings in the work that's been done or an aberration that was unanticipated, with either which can they be resolved. So I would like to hear that information back before moving forward on development here.
Sorry, yeah, thank you. Mr. Simile, the way it's worded, if that the applicant's going to bring back the variance, that would include a covenant, a geotechnical covenant. I understand there's a geotechnical covenant on title, and an analysis of the existing geotechnical report. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Worship. And I just wondered, just for clarification through to Councillor McIsaac, if he's speaking to the current work that has been done and if it has been done outside of any sort of recommendations, like if it's gone further than like the cutting of the toe of the slope, for example. If the geotechnical report says don't do that, do we need another geotechnical report to comment on the stability of that slope now?
Yeah, no, excellent question. And I think the answer is, what I'm looking for is the state of development up there right now consistent with what prior geotechnical reports have suggested should be done? Has work been done beyond that or not kept up to the scale that was required of it, or any of those aberrations from what the geotechnical reports were? I think that's what I'm looking for is, I mean, if it's consistent with what the geotechnical reports required, then that's one thing, but if it's not, that's something else altogether.
So it goes back to the question about the variance between what the covenants asked for. So, and enshrined in that is the geotechnical report and the performance against that report.
Yeah, Your Worship, again, I'm not an expert in writing motions, but I'm just wondering if, just so we're not leaving anything out, if we can make it as general as possible and allow staff to review the file and then ask the applicant or the developer for what we think is required, or if the motion on the table now already kind of covers that, that's fine as well.
I think it does.
It's also worth noting that, and again, it was noted earlier by the developer that there are current conversations happening between our engineering department and the developer, so it's already being looked at in a sense as well.
Yeah. Councillor Ravenous, did you have your hands up?
Yes, Your Worship, I was of a different opinion at the start of this conversation, but I think my colleagues have steered me towards one direction here. Initially, what I was thinking was I have enough information here to make a decision, which means it was not number 3, which is going and asking for more analysis. I feel like the analysis has been done, and my question would have been to reject this application in full right away. Because just hearing from this conversation, this does not appear to me that there will be zero staff time involved. There will be some effort from the staff, and I am mindful of that. And I just feel like this has been a long pending development that hasn't happened. There is history here, and more analysis isn't going to yield the answer that we are required to make a good decision. I just feel like we should just reject this.
Well, and except to say that that's, our planning department's job is to look at these things as they come across their desks, and you will guide us, Mr. Simile, as to how much effort is required in in getting to more fulsome information and potentially a follow-up report.
Yes, Your Worship, and again, through to council, while rejecting it could relieve staff time now, there's nothing stopping the applicant from making another application down the road in the future. And I think there's a cooling off period. Is it 6 months? Yeah, 6-month cooling off period. So in this case, that analysis and that staff time would need to be dedicated at that point anyways, just as a, just for clarification on that.
Thank you. Councilor Ida Kelly?
I just want to be really sure that the motion encompasses every covenant that is supposed to be on that property, why they haven't been met, or if they have been met. Like, I want to be clear on both of those cases. An example, like you did mention, Your Worship, about the hydro seeding, and there's supposed to be 10,000 shrubs planted, for example. So I want to be clear on each and every condition that was already legally enforceable before I can make a decision on where the future would go.
Yeah, and speaking directly to that point, it's unclear to me whether that was just a commitment made in a meeting in 2012 or whether that's actually enshrined somewhere in a development plan. Yeah, Councilor Hamilton.
Thank you. I agree with everything that's been spoken about, and I'm not sure if it's going to be captured in one of the covenants or not when we do that more fulsome research. But from what I've heard from the public participation and the letters that we received, is the drainage and the significant impact that is having on the residents downslope, and ensuring that the drainage is mitigated and repaired, so that it's not flowing around people's houses. It's not washing gravel pathways out into the middle of the street, and it's not sedimenting and filling up our stormwater systems at the cost of the city to mitigate that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of additional work that background work that needs to go in for more information before I'm comfortable moving this forward or kind of approving reading first and second readings. So thank you.
Thank you. Would you mind? Let's see where we got.
So we have a main motion on the table, which is that council requests more information from the applicant regarding the application, including detailed listing of performance against existing covenants on title. And that was moved in second. Now you have an amending motion that council add, and that the applicant provide more information on the status of current geotechnical work going on, and is it consistent with prior geotech reports?
So moving the amendment, sorry, Councilor McIsaac.
If I can just speak to the amendment. If the covenant discussion covers the geotechnical discussion, then I don't believe there's any need to amend it. So will we know that?
Is there a covenant that references the geotechnical report? I believe there is. Mr. Barnowski.
Hearing council's decision, if I might make a recommendation, I think it would be useful, rather than moving and seconding that specific amendment, to have an amending motion such that we change that original resolution that you have moved and seconded to be that council request more information from the applicant regarding the application, including a detailed listing of performance against the existing covenants and technical reports related to the on title and related to the property, to be brought forward to a future meeting of council. And in that way, geotechnical reports, other technical reports related to the property and the covenants on title, we request information from the applicant related to current works and conformance or compliance, and any actions related to all of that in one piece.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that, actually, because that's a broader ask, which was likely to cover more area. And we want to give our corporate officer a moment to take that out. I think I'd be happy to move that amendment. Now, we didn't have an amended motion on the table yet.
No.
Not yet.
No.
So,
it
okay,
wasn't.
so we're okay.
I'll grab that and then I can provide that.
Sorry, Mr. Barnowski, are you sharing that with our corporate officer?
I'm just sending that to your corporate officer. I need
Thank you.
30 seconds.
Very loud. You hit the return very loud. Okay, so the amended motion would be that council requests more information. Yes, that's right. More information from the applicant regarding the application, including detailed listing of performance against existing covenants on title and all technical reports related to the property.
Move the amendment, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Well, we'll wait till Councillor Ramirez returns to the table. That's okay. Sorry, can you read that one?
I'll read that again, councillor. So the amending motion is that council requests more information from the applicant regarding the application, including detailed listing of performance against existing covenants on title and all technical reports related to the properties.
Moved by Councillor McIsaac, seconded by Councillor
Correct.
Hamilton. Any further discussion? All those in favor? The amendment, that's Councillor Nixon, Councillor Audie Kelly, myself, Councillor McIsaac, and Councillor Hamilton, and those opposed. Councillor Ramirez.
And the motion as amended is that council requests more information from the applicant regarding the application, including detailed listing of performance against existing covenants on title and all technical reports related to the properties.
And we had a mover and a seconder on that.
Yep.
That was Councillor Audie Kelly and Councillor Hamilton.
Correct.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Same as before.
Okay.
Councillor Ramirez is opposed. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Semolini.
Thank you, Worship. Thanks, Council.
You anticipated some discussion and you got it. Thank you, folks. You're welcome to stay. You're also welcome to sneak out before we get into the 2025 financial statements.
This is the best part.
How are the views there? How are the views there?
Nice. Ceiling was wonderful.
Okay, item 11.1. 2025 financial statements presented by our Director of Finance and our Auditor, Mr. Gerald Price.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. Thank you. Hello, Council. Just a brief introduction of Mr. Price of GPI Chartered Professional Accountants, our auditor. I would like to thank Mr. Price and his staff for working with us this year. They're very easy to work with and very flexible, especially during very busy personal tax season for him, I'm sure. And I would particularly like to thank Deputy Director of Finance, Ms. Mullen, who is very much the driving force behind this year's audit. And Mr. Price just has a few slides with some of the financial highlights in 2025.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Price.
Thank you, Your Worship. Oh, thank you, Your Worship. And council. I don't think I've ever cleared a room so completely of people who didn't have to stay. I used to think there are some people out there that liked me, but apparently I may be wrong on that and have to
Don't take it
reevaluate how I've done
don't take
things.
it personally. Yeah, it
Oh.
happens to us all the time.
So they come in to give you a hard time. Well done. So the highlights, I want to hit the highlights here so we don't take too much of your time because you got lots to do. For the financial audit of 2025 in the city of Fernie. Revenue was 27.7 million compared to a budget amount of 27.8 million. Transfers from other governments was lower than the budgeted amount, but planning and development services was higher than budget. Expenses were $24.1 million, which is $2.1 million higher than they were in 2024. This is also a little bit more than the budgeted amount of $22.9 million, and an increase of about $1.2 million higher than budget. The higher amortization expense of $4.45 million compared to the budgeted amount of $4.16 million, along with higher than a budget amounts in Parks, Recreation, and Culture accounts for most of the difference. Tangible capital assets were $120.9 million, which is a net increase of $2 million. This includes the work done on the Mount View Dike, rehabilitation of roads, and some various infrastructure projects. The additions totaled $6.7 million, amortization of $4.4 million, and the disposition of the old fire hall resulted in the net increase. Debenture debt decreased by $124,000 to bring the outstanding balance to $1,842,000. There were no debentures issued during 2025. The temporary borrowings had $600,000 paid during 2025, which left or paid off the balance of temporary borrowings. The development cost charges are $3,786,000 compared to.
Sorry, Mr. Price, Councilor Ramirez.
Thanks, Your Worship. Maybe it's a question for the CFO or Mr. Bryce here. The $1,800,000 in debenture debt outstanding, is that from the operations center from before? I thought we had already paid that off.
Thanks, Councilor Ramirez. You're right. That one's paid off as of 2025. We have the loan. There's a loan there for the West Fernie, bringing that online in 2019.
Gotcha.
And then there's one other loan, which the purpose of which escapes me, but it's another older one.
I think it was for the Second Avenue development.
Yeah.
Downtown Revite?
Yeah, which I also, I mean, that was one of them too. That one also maybe was recently paid off a couple of years ago. And there's a third one, I guess, that's in that history. I'll try and look it up as Mr. Price.
It was three. I have my financial statements here. I'll look up at the details.
Thank you, sir.
That way I get credit for it instead of Brent. Oh, darn. We have the sewer infrastructure that, let's see. Yeah, sewer infrastructure was $110,000 and the West Fernie infrastructure was $1,731,000.
So
Does
just
that give you the detail you're looking
two
for?
items. Okay, thank you.
The annual surplus for 2025 was $3,592,000. The cumulative surplus now sits at $130,457,000. Tangible capital assets represent $120,950,000 of that surplus. Net financial assets, the balance of $9,573,000. Going to our next slide, I've got some additional details here. Bren, if you can move to the next slide. This page that I'm having to skip over is a summary of what these graphs show us. I think the graphs are a little bit more entertaining and more exciting to look at than just some more words that I'm going to say anyways. So this graph here shows the last 10 years. And the orange line is our financial assets. The yellow line is our financial liabilities, and the green line is the combination of those two for our net financial assets. So if we take a look, we can see that over the last 10 years, there's been a trend that almost all of those numbers have moved up in the last 10 years. The last 6 years have shown where the net financial assets have been increasing. Now, this past year, we did have a decrease in our financial assets, but our financial liabilities decreased at a faster rate than the financial assets did. So we still had an increase in our net financial assets.
The next slide gives the last 10 years of our operations. The orange line is our revenue. The yellow line are the expenses. And the green line would be the net surplus for each year. So you can see that over the last 10 years, there again, our revenues have been increasing. Our expenses have also increased in line, which shouldn't be that surprising since we're raising money to spend it. Here again, the revenue, 27.7 million that we've already discussed and what those expenses are. So it just gives you an idea of what's happened over the last 10 years to see if you're happy with the direction you're going or not. The next slide shows our cash investments and the debt over the last 10-year trends. You can see that the orange line is the cash and investments, and they have over the last 10 years certainly increased, although the last 2 years there's been a slight decrease in our cash. If we take a look at the debt, we can see that it peaked in the last 10 years in 2020, and we've been paying it down each year since then. And then the final slide that I want to entertain you with is the trend of our tangible capital assets as we invest in the community. You can see that over the last 10 years, the line has been increasing each year. So that's my presentation. I'm welcome to, or you're welcome to ask any questions. I'll do my best to answer now or go back and get enough information that we can provide the details to you. I want to thank the city staff that worked with us to get this done. As Brent mentioned, Sydney Molly was very, very helpful. She did a lot of work on this, getting us the information that we needed. So we certainly appreciated the efforts of all the staff though. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you. On that last slide with tangible capital assets, how do we calculate the value of our tangible assets?
So it is our cost less amortization. So I've got a detailed schedule here if you want to see it. I don't know, is it appropriate that I hand it over to you, or Bryn, do you have a copy on your computer?
We've received a copy.
I do have a copy, but the value of them, as Mr. Price said, is just historical cost, less any amount advertised.
Yep.
So not replacement costs. That's the important.
Councillor Adia Kelly.
Thanks, your worship. Mr. Price, you were telling us something about DCCs and we interrupted you. Could we go back there?
Absolutely. So not a lot to say about the DCCs. They've increased in 2025 as compared to 2024. Development cost charges were $3,786,000 at the end of 2025. And at the end of 2024, there were $3,166,000, an increase of $620,000 over the past year.
620 increase. Thanks, Mr. Price.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Other questions from council?
Further, your
Councillor Adia
worship.
Kelly, yeah.
Just, this is probably a question for CFO. So the DCCs are kept in a specific reserve?
Thanks, Councillor Adia Kelly. That's correct. And there, I think there's 5 different categories: roads, sanitary, water, parks. Maybe there's only 4. And as council
Drainage.
Drainage. And as council may remember, there's an amount slated to use towards the UV treatment at with our water this coming year.
Further?
That was 1.5 million CAO?
1.5 was the budget, and we were using 800 of DCCs to pay for that,
800 of
800,000.
DCCs.
And I think there's a report coming fairly soon to council for the results of that tender for that project.
Thank you. I just wanted to make the point about DCCs because there has been some inaccurate narrative throughout the community about DCCs. They still exist and they're still being collected and they are being used to fund infrastructure. So I wanted to make sure that that was noted, and I really thank you, Mr. Price. And also it's been brought up at the OCP table about DCCs and KPIs and what they're doing for them becoming more visible to the community. So I just wanted to make sure that that point was brought forward tonight, and that I do very much appreciate the work that Mr. Price and his staff did. Thank you.
Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you. And just to say into the microphone what was said along the table here off microphone, our tangible assets are not the replacement cost. So, you know, when we're talking about DCCs and we're talking about our current assets and replacing them, we're not replacing dollar for dollar. We're replacing, we need to replace the current value, not what we bought it for 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Schutzman.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. Yeah, and just to buttress that, I mean, the term asset is a bit of a misnomer. It's a thing we have that we have to pay for and maintain, not a thing that is worth money to us unless we sell it.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Thank you very much, Mr. Price. Appreciate it. We will, I'll ask our corporate officer to read the recommendation.
Your Worship and Council, the recommendation is that Council approve the 2025 audited financial statements as presented by the auditor on May 12th, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And you're also welcome to go.
No, I don't want to give you guys a complex. I feel bad. There's no one here to make sure that you guys are doing what you're supposed to.
Too late. We've already got.
I was gonna say, but I guess I can trust you, so I'm gonna leave.
Thank you, Mr. Price.
Have a good evening.
You too. Item 11.1, support for the Fernie Legion 100th anniversary block party. A report from our manager of Parks and Recreation. Ms. Hill, welcome. We should. Welcome, Ms. Hill.
All right. I am learning. Will get easier. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to present the Fernie Legion's request for support to celebrate the 100th anniversary community event. The purpose of this report is to seek council approval for the in-kind and financial support for the Fernie Legion 100th anniversary block party and direction to draft an agreement for a time capsule and cenotaph maintenance. The Fernie Legion has requested city support for the 100th anniversary planned for September 5th, 2026. City staff have met with the Legion representatives to review event requirements and explore the available support. Support requested includes a waiver of facility rental fees, provision of event equipment such as tables and chairs, and assistance with road and alley closures. The Fernie Legion will serve as the primary event organizer with only limited city staff support anticipated. Additional requests include a ceremonial flag raising, which will be considered separately under the city's flag request policy, a Legion-themed crosswalk painting, and installation of a commemorative time capsule on city property. The event is not expected to require significant staff resources. However, the crowd control fencing requested is unavailable due to an overlapping event taking place. The proposed time capsule location is near the cenotaph, and installation would require a formal agreement with the Legion. Preliminary discussions regarding ongoing cenotaph care and maintenance have also begun. In summary, the requested event support is considered feasible and aligns with Council's strategic objective of fostering a vibrant, inclusive, and engaged community. The estimated value of in-kind support for Station Square rental, event equipment, flag raising, road closures, and crosswalk painting is approximately $1,500. The Legion-themed crosswalk stencil can be incorporated into the annual line painting program with minimal additional effort. And the Legion is also aware of limited staff capacity due to other events taking place that week. In addition, a formal agreement would need to be drafted for the time capsule installation and ongoing cenotaph maintenance. Staff are recommending that council approve the event and requested support as outlined in the report, and direct staff to draft an agreement with the Fernie Legion for the time capsule installation and ongoing cenotaph care and maintenance.
Thank you, Manager Hill. Questions, comments from council? Councilor McIsaac.
Just going to move it, Your Worship.
Okay. Could I ask the corporate officer to read the recommendation, please?
The staff recommendation is that council approve the Royal Canadian Legion Branch number 36 100th anniversary block party on September 5, 2026, including use of Station Square and road closures, and approve the proposed Legion-themed crosswalk with any municipal support subject to staff capacity and equipment availability. And that council directs staff to work with the Legion to draft an agreement related to the installation of a time capsule and the maintenance and care of the cenotaph for approval at a future meeting.
Moved by Councilor McIsaac, seconded by Councilor Hamilton. Any further discussion? Councilor Ramirez.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm excited for the block party. I'm excited for the crosswalk, but the one that is really good is the fact that there will be cenotaph maintenance also, which is amazing. Like, it almost seems like the Legion read the council's mind here, and really appreciative of their effort here. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, all those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Hill. Item 11.3, a notice of motion to be presented by Councilor Nixon.
Me go? Me talk? Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I think that, I think I just read this, right? Okay, thank you. Be it resolved that council directs staff to bring back a report to investigate the feasibility of installing smart sensor units on city light infrastructure, including engaging with livable cities to understand sensor capabilities and infrastructure requirements, exploring pilot project options in key areas such as high traffic areas and Highway 3, identifying potential benefits, costs, and funding sources, and determining if we have the staff capacity to interpret the data.
So moved by Councilor Nixon, seconded by Councilor Hamilton. Discussion. Councilor Hamilton, then Councilor Ramirez.
A question, I guess it's probably to staff. Do we have light infrastructure along the highway corridor in high traffic areas? I guess what would we define as kind of a high traffic area? Specifically, I guess what I would like to know is, do we have any infrastructure at the Riverside Highway 3 intersection that we might be able to target as a high priority area?
I do not know. I'd have to bring that information back. I think identifying those areas, what data we would get and what we might do with it would be part of the preliminary work, which I don't think is a heavy lift, but I can't answer that question right at the moment.
Yeah, I think based on our discussions with Mott to date, I think it's their infrastructure, but we participate in it because it's we share the intersection. Mr. Bornowski?
I do not know about provincial ministry-owned infrastructure, but I would imagine that there are opportunities for installation on shared infrastructure or small permits that we can negotiate for some areas. But again, I don't know for sure.
Councilor Ramirez?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks, Councillor. Great resolution here. And again, being able to bring something from a conference to the Fernie City Council is amazing. And what we will do with the data is for later time. Just having data itself is really important here, especially given the conversation that we had with the Dickon Road bypass not long ago. Fully supportive of this, and Your Worship, nowadays it's also getting easier and easier to interpret data too. Like, there are bots and things available. There are smarter people than me who understand the technology. So I'm in full support of supporting this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Yeah, I am also in support. I was just going to ask Councillor Nixon to maybe tell a little bit about it for folks that may not know much about it. Would you mind, Councillor Nixon?
Sure, that'd be
for the
great.
sake of the public?
A few years ago, we went to Federation of Canadian Municipalities in Calgary, and we were at one of the booths there, and there is a booth, not booths, booth. And there's a small unit that fixes atop the light standards that can monitor noise, monitor traffic data.
Air quality.
Air quality was the biggest one as well, one of the big ones. And they just, city staff installs them, and we get the data read to us, sent to us, I guess, to that effect. So that's the reason, that was the number one. And it's the data that's really what we're missing. When you think about the downtown corridor with Second Avenue with noise, for example, how many cars are going down there? How many motorcycles are going down there? Maybe it's just, right now we're working on anecdotal evidence, and it's insufficient for making quality decisions. So there you go.
Thank you.
Is that good?
That was awesome. Thank you.
Councillor Shoesmith.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. I think I mostly support this, although with some small misgivings and some caveats. I would also point out we do put up Christmas decorations all along that corridor, so we must have some sort of agreement where we can do work there. So I'm a little leery of big data and technocracy, kind of just on principle. I don't much like those things. Although I do think that with the ongoing traffic at Highway 3, I think having some good data to point to is handy. And I think this can mostly be a good thing, just provided what we do with the information garnered. So I'm tentatively supportive.
Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Worship. I was on the fence about supporting this until Councillor Ramadas praised going to a conference, and now I'm totally sold. But I did want to make the comment, though, just to speak to what Councillor Shoesmith said, is the big challenge with data is who has it.
Yeah.
And the problem is we don't. And we are often faced with organizations like MOTT and so on who have the data and are reluctant to share it to help in our decision making. So this is one opportunity for us to at least have some access to some of the data in our community that's available to help in our decision making. So I support this.
Thank you. So with that, Councillor Audie Kelly.
Sorry, Your Worship. The data storage of things like traffic counts wouldn't be infringing on privacy.
No, it doesn't record. It just records a number of
It
vehicles.
just records
doesn't record
numbers, right?
particulars.
So
Yeah.
in terms of those things, yeah, exactly. Not
Yeah.
whose car went by, just
Yeah.
so that's clear.
Or whose e-bike, just to be clear. At excessive speed.
Oh.
Just say it. And just for clarity, I will call the vote, but this just places it on the next regular council agenda. So with that, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Nixon. Items 13, 13.1 Elk Valley Pride Festival flag and in-kind requests. Just for clarity, the Parks Facilities and Recreation staff have confirmed that Pride is considered a core event, and so it does receive RMI funding under the RDS strategy. So in-kind assistance is provided by the city. So we'll be just focused on the flag request in this resolution. And so the recommendation is that council approve flying of the Progress Pride flag throughout the week of September 14th, 2026 to September 21st, 2026. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor McIsaac. Any further discussion? Councillor Shoesmith.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. No shade or criticism towards the event. I think it's great. I think we should support it. I just have a pretty firm belief that I really think we should be simply raising a flag, the Canadian flag, and that a flag is actually a very powerful political statement. Generally, it shows who's in control or who the sovereign is. And I just don't think we should fly any flag other than the flag of our local government, the province or the country that we belong to. But I hope that the Pride Festival is a good time and they enjoy themselves.
Thank you. Anything else? All those in favor? And opposed? Councillor Shoesmith abstained. Thank you. And then we have the Legion's 100th anniversary flag request. And the recommendation that, oh, sorry. Sorry, just reading. I have a note from our corporate officer here. Yeah, please.
Staff recommendation is that council approve the flying of the Legion 100th year anniversary flag throughout August 24th, 2026 to September 13th, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Eddie Kelly. Any discussion? Councillor Shoesmith.
Having said what I just said, this is the Royal Canadian Legion. So it's kind of a arm's length part of government almost. Not really, but it is.
Thank you. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. And is there any discussion on item 13.3, Local Government Climate Action Program, LGCAP request to advocate for renewal of the program? Correspondence from the Municipal Climate Leadership Council. Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Worship. I can speak to this a little bit. I may have discussed this, I think, in the council's report 2 weeks ago, but just as a reminder to everyone, this is money that the government was giving to every municipality to support requirements that the provincial government was putting on us, which was to lower greenhouse gases, become more climate responsive, emergency preparedness, all those things. So they delivered us with a set of requirements, and then they delivered us with some money to help support those requirements. And now they're not taking away the requirements, but they are taking away the money. And so province-wide, municipalities, local governments, area associations, and UBCM are speaking up to the government about some way, some financial form replacement of this in future budgets in order to ensure that we all continue moving forward with that good work that they've asked. So,
thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we will move on to reports from council members, and I'll start with your Shoesmith, please.
Thanks, Mayor Milligan. For those of you who've emailed me, I've been having a devil of a time with our IT. So if I haven't gotten back to you, that's why. I'm more or less unable to get into the system most days. I've been on the phone with IT repeatedly. But that aside, I'm not ignoring people. I just haven't been able to get through them. Yeah, just like to report the Downtown Business Working Group is coalescing and has kind of established the scope of who they are and what they're going to do. And I think their input into the OCP process is going to be very vital. And I think that they're a good touch point for informing us on the future of Station Square and the general goings on. In addition to that, I'm looking forward to the Canada Day celebrations. The preparations for that are underway already. I'll be manning the dunk tank again. And if anybody wants to be fodder for me, that would be great. Please reach out. And I just had a citizen reach out to me just ahead of this meeting, suggesting that a whole bunch of the ball team sponsors would be willing to probably come forward and help invest in our new ball fields or our upgrading our existing ball fields. So I think that as we move along, that would be a great group of people to rope in. I'm sure I've missed something, but that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. Just going back to 13.3, there was a request in that email to provide a letter of support from the city of Fernie, and it was calling upon many different municipalities across the province. So I would be interested in actually getting a hold of a letter and finding the letter and sending it on behalf of the city of Fernie to talk to the government about losing this LG cap.
Okay, so sorry, you're suggesting we review an existing letter and
Yeah.
potentially produce one of our own?
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll bring that back to council when we get a copy of the letter.
I can send it as well.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
other than that, I went to Council Cafe last week and ran into some people who never even knew it happened, which was very interesting, and they were very pleased that it was going on. But not much other than that, I think, in my plate today or last week.
Thank you. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. I participated in with my Rotary Club, our super successful 3rd annual Feast for a Cause. Councillor Hamilton and I worked our fingers to the bone, and it was awesome. And I wanted to say that it was really successful, to thank the people that came. And I wanted to talk about it because it's an example of building community. And I really believe in building community, and that's what we should be doing, not creating division in community. We should be creating more community and bringing people together. So I wanted to stress that point. And the fundraising will go towards health equipment in our local area. I wanted to say that we've been super busy with the OCP task force. We had 2 sets of meetings with different community partners and stakeholders. They were excellent. I would like to really thank the people that have invested their time into the OCP. Did we extend to the 15th? Did we extend to the 15th? No. So I'm thankful to people that did get in their workbooks. Really appreciate your effort. Know that there will be more engagement coming along. This isn't a fast and quick program. It's going to actually run into the next council term. So hoping the community continues to come out and participate. I too attended Council Cafe. It was very lovely. And I think it was our very first one where all of us were there.
Yeah.
So chalk that one in the books. That was pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to attending the waste management seminar in Elkford tomorrow night. It should be super, super informative. I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to attend the Community Safety Day, and I wanted to give kudos to Tricia and all the staff and all the firefighters that really worked hard. I've seen several things about it online, including some YouTube videos, and it looked like it was fantastic. So I was sad I wasn't there. I'm looking forward to the next BBB with Rocky's Law and meeting the new chamber board that was elected. And as I'm their liaison, and really enjoy working with them and all of the great things they're doing for the community, such as the Downtown Business Working Group. And I think, Your Worship, that's all for me.
Thank you. Councillor McCausey.
Thank you, Worship. I too wanted to make the comment about Council Cafe. That was, they're always great, but it was really nice to have a bunch of us there and a bunch of new faces. I don't know if I brought up, I think at the library AGM has been since the last time I did a council report. And so I did attend that. Councillor Hamilton attended as well, just to make sure I didn't get out of line, I think. It went extremely well. It's such an excellent professional board. They do such a great job running our heritage library here. I think I would be remiss if I didn't put forward the compliments that they gave to our staff about the support with leak that they had in the sewage outside. They had nothing but praise to sing about that. I did think it was a relatively challenging way to get a new sidewalk on that into the building. But nevertheless, there it is. Looking forward to local government week, part of which is we're going to spend up, I think, a few of us at the Elk Valley Waste Management Seminar tomorrow, and looking forward to Thursday night. And I think that's about it. I too was sorry that I was not able to make our safety day. I've heard many good things about it. It seems like it's always on a day of the year that I can't get to, but all right, that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Ramirez.
Thank you, Worship. It was a busy week for me as well. Like many of us here mentioned, that was my first council cafe in 4 years. So it was, I think I spent more time playing mahjong with the seniors than actually attending the council cafe, but it was still fun. I did spend a couple of hours at the Salvation Army yesterday at the Fernie Food Share. It was a lot of fun, first of all. Like, it was a really good conversation with a lot of people in town. On a serious note, it was also eye-opening for me, Your Worship. Like, the food insecurity in town is bigger than I had thought. So it was my own ignorance. If anybody is hearing this and they want to volunteer at the food share, they're open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Wednesdays especially is geared towards the senior food share as well. So yeah, it was great, and thanks for the Columbia Basin Alliance Trust to have. Columbia Basin Adult Literacy to have invited me over there. It was, I'm really grateful for that. I've got the Fernie District Arts Committee meeting on Thursday, as well as looking forward to the local government week, the YQT engagement as well, and BBB as well. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you. As has been said by many, Council Cafe was great on last Monday. And I'm really looking forward to our evening cafe tomorrow. Be interesting to see if we were able to draw
Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday. Yes. Thank you for correcting me there. Thursday. If it draws a different cohort or a different group from the community. Fernie Youth Soccer has started up, and two things that blow my mind are the organization of managing 200 and some children running around on the soccer pitch every evening. But also, this is now my fourth year coaching the House League, and just watching how the youth have progressed in that time and the skills development that soccer has enabled them, and even the personal development of the young kids has been great. I attended Emergency Preparedness Day on Saturday, and it was well attended, watching the kids try and do the obstacle course. I was really hoping that firefighters were going to make them do it with their SCBA tanks on, but I think the tanks were bigger and heavier than half the kids doing it. So that's fair, I suppose. And then also this afternoon, the equipment showcase with all the kids from the elementary school coming down. And I think I was probably the most excited when firefighters showed up and started putting up the ladder truck. I'd never actually seen it go up, so that was pretty exciting. A big boy toy. And yeah, to Councillor Adia Kelly's comment, I was also at Peace for a Cause. I don't know if I worked my fingers to the bone, but excuse me, I looked at my step tracker and I did almost 12,000 steps that night. So I wore the wrong shoes. My feet were sore the next day. That is all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, I won't, I'll touch on a couple of things that others have mentioned. Councillor Adia Kelly's commented about the OCP task force and the value in people participating in that entire process, and our recent community groups and stakeholder meetings have been super informative. So I'm very grateful for everybody's participation. And as Councillor Ramadaz recommended, we have an upcoming community-to-community meeting with Yakutat Nucleate on the 20th, and very much looking forward to that conversation. Other than that, I had the very good fortune to attend the Fernie Legion's Veterans Dinner last Thursday evening, and it was just a very moving experience. The level of commitment from those folks and the support they receive from the Legion is just really, really impressive. And so I wanted to share that. And since our last meeting, I also attended, couldn't attend Feast for the Cause because I was at the Regional Mine Rescue competition in Sparwood, which was, as an old hand and former competitor, always really enjoy, and the sense of camaraderie around that room is fantastic. And Lion Creek won first place, and they're off again for the third time in a row, actually, and they're off again to the provincials. So they did a fantastic job. With that, yes, Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Worship. Sorry, I forgot to mention one thing.
No.
Today is the last day for you to get the census in. If you haven't done it, go do it. The government decides the resources that we get based on people putting their census in. If you don't have the form, you can do it online in less than 5 minutes. I did it myself yesterday.
Thank you. That's a great reminder. Thank you very much. With that, I will ask our corporate officer to read the resolution to close.
Your Worship and Council, the resolution to close is that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to Section 91E of the Community Charter, as the subject matter being considered relates to the disposition of municipal land, and proper public disclosure needs to be considered by Council so as to not cause harm to the interests of the municipality.
Mover, Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Shoesmith. Any discussion? All those in favor? We are now in close. Thank you, everybody, for joining.